phone here, so I would like to call the meeting of the Human Services Committee to order. Please call the roll.
Chair Swarzy.
Here.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Garcia. Here. Member Dessart. Member Galassi. Here. Member LaPlante.
Okay, do we have any public comment?
No public comment.
All right, first of all, I'd like to wish everyone happy Labor Day weekend. I guess I hope you had a nice Labor Day weekend. I want to mention that today we will be voting on item 6D, which is our new small agency grant program. Included in our packets today as part of this agenda item is Exhibit A, which is a chart that shows those 501c3 agencies in each of the 6 county board districts in which our county board members are making the recommendation to receive a grant. Included in the chart, you will see the 501c3 organization, the eligible dollar amount based on review by our finance department and our state's attorney's office, and the dollar amount recommended by the board members. There are 2 clarification issues I'd like to make regarding this chart. The number one, the maximum amount of grant dollars available to each organization is $25,000, and that's based on the resolution our county board passed earlier this year. And number 2, the maximum amount of grant dollars given to each organization won't be greater than the amount indicated on the organization's application. If you have any questions regarding this, you'll have the opportunity when we discuss that item later this morning. With that being said, I would like to take a motion to approve item 23, 29, 28, Human Services Committee regular meeting minutes from Tuesday, August 15, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I'll take a motion to approve item FIR 020223, a recommendation of approval of renewal of an intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and the Village of Addison for the Addison Consolidated Dispatch Center to provide 211 services in the amount of $649,912. You have a motion and a second. Questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Take a motion to approve item FIR 020323, additional appropriation for the ILD CEO Community Services Block Grant Plan Year 23 Intergovernmental Agreement number 2323-1028 from $1,115,200 to $1,328,747, an increase of $213,547.
Second.
Motion and second. Questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Take a motion to approve item FIR 020423, acceptance and appropriation of additional funding for the Illinois Home Weatherization Assistance Program, HHS grant fiscal year 23 from $803,400 to $881,832, an increase of $78,432. We have a motion and second. Questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Take a motion to approve item HSR 5823, a resolution to approve the agencies under the small agency grant program. We have a motion and a second. Questions or comments? Member Garcia.
Yeah, I have a question on some of these. I'm really excited that this is happening. I think we're doing a great service to a lot of our small nonprofits. So I think this is a great program. But on the Exhibit A, I've noticed that there is some that the staff or state's attorney have not approved that the districts have put in for approval. And I'm just wondering how that will affect, well, I'm just trying to get some information on that. To me, it seems like if they are not approved or ARPA funded, approved, then we're going to be actually having to pay the money out of some other funds. So I'm just trying to get some clarification on that.
So I guess I'll start. Generally speaking, this is not ARPA money. This is general fund money.
Okay.
It's ARPA interest, which has all the same restrictions and strings attached to it that the general fund has.
Okay.
So and I'll try and roll things back a little bit to when we started this program. At the beginning of this, when we were identifying a funding mechanism, you guys were basically given 2 choices. Either you could have ARPA money, which requires a lot more reporting and detailed information on the back end, which, or you could have general fund money, which has more strict eligibility requirements on the front end. And you opted to go with the kind of the hybrid of the two, which is money, which is interest from ARPA, but is basically governed by general fund principles. So to be clear, it's not ARPA money eligible. Right now, you have not established two different pots, so to speak. It's all general fund monies. And that's just how you guys structured the program. With regards to specific items, it would be helpful, sorry, I have the receipts here somewhere, but if you could just give me a couple examples, that would help me out.
Okay, like in District 1, we've got Evergreen Shared Housing for the recovery of shared housing for $25,000.
Oh, sure, yeah, that one was, 1 second here. Got a lot of paper.
Which district are you looking at?
District 1.
One Evergreen Shared Housing. That was a finance rejection because it's not a 501c3 and it has no AG 990-IL, so it doesn't meet the structural requirements for the program, unless I'm wrong with that.
Okay, so since it doesn't meet the structural structures of the program that we put forth, then are we able to give this money out? I mean, I would think no, right?
I'll expand upon finance's concerns because I had some concerns reviewing it too. It's unclear whether the specific expenses for this program would be covered by the county's general fund authority. And I say it's unclear because in looking at their proposal, it's not entirely clear to me what the money we would be giving is going to. And when you have a general program like that, and this is not the only instance that we have something like this,
Right.
but you have a program with a laudable purpose that seems like a really nice thing to do, but the devil's in the details because there's some things you can buy and some things you can pay for and some things you can't because the county only has the power given to it by legislature with regards to general fund monies. So even if they had 501c3 or at 990, I'd still need more information on the program. And again, that's going to be a hallmark refrain through a lot of the questions I'm sure you have. It would be helpful had we had more information about what the specific program expenses were going to be and how they're going to be used.
Can I add something? I just wanted to be clear on why there are two different columns. So finance and the state's attorney went through and made their determination, but there are programs that were still recommended by the districts. And so at the staff level, we decided that, state's attorney is serving in an advisory role as to staff. So from a staff perspective, we thought it was best to present both what the districts had recommended and then what staff has reviewed in terms of eligibility. So that's why there's two. We didn't feel it was appropriate to remove them from the list. Our role was to forward the recommendation of each district.
Right, and I appreciate that.
Save your thought. I see that member LaPlante is joining us via Zoom. And it's my understanding that she is ill and that is why she's not here. And I don't have the language in front of me. Thank you. Okay, so a physical quorum of the members is physically present. I would like to entertain a motion to permit those members not physically present due to personal illness, disability, employment purposes, or for the business of the board or family or other emergency to participate by video or teleconference. So I need a motion to allow member LaPlante to join us.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, member LaPlante, for being here. We are discussing item 6D, which is a resolution to approve the agencies under small agency grant programs, and member Garcia has the floor right now.
Okay, just so I guess what I'm trying to get clarification on is that if staff and the state's attorney have concerns, or because I think you need receipts on all of these, if I'm correct, for these, because it's
Like reports, you mean?
right. We need nothing for this.
The reporting will be on the back end, basically. How
That's what I'm saying. So on the back end.
First. The whole grant will go up first, and then we'll ask for the reporting on the back end.
So you do need a report at the back
On
end,
the
though.
back end, yeah,
Okay.
at the end of 2024.
Okay. I'm just a little concerned about giving money out to that might not be within the scope of what we advocated.
Who would be liable if there was a complaint or something and
Well, it's interesting. The county in theory would be the subject of a suit. Depending on the outcome of the suit, it's possible we may have to go to try and recollect. I mean, ultimately, that would be a different decision. There would be other concerns, you know, if someone was knowingly and intentionally trying to use the money improperly, that would be the other side of the office for that.
Remember you.
So in the District 5 section, Indian Prairie Educational Foundation, there was a district recommended amount of $100, and I just wanted to see if is that the amount that they requested, or is that just what the district is saying they should get? That seems rather
I do know that, that they have, member Guston has requested taking $424 from, this isn't answering your question, but I think we need to.
They requested 20,000.
Okay, they requested 20,000 and either staff finance or ASA determined that they were only eligible for. This was a recommendation by.
That was the district recommendation. I think they were working
Okay.
through the numbers.
Wow.
So there's your answer, but I will say with regards to that, since you brought it up, that member Guston has asked to transfer, she's changed her request in District 5, item number 44, to take $424 from that Shelter Assistance Foundation and move it down to Indian Prairie. So that's something we'll have to discuss. So that would be a $524 request, but yeah. Remember.
So I think I understand what's happening here, but I guess for clarification, remind me, was it 175,000 every district was eligible to give out? So if we're looking at District 5, because that one has the most kind of discrepancy between the two columns. So are we only going to be giving the amounts in the yellow column?
So we got to vote on. Right now, the motion is to accept
The district
the
recommended.
district recommended amount, which is about $70,000 more than than what staff deems as eligible. So, and that's why we're having this discussion for sure.
Okay.
So,
So I guess so, like for District 5, and we don't have I was only really paying close attention to District 3 because we were under the amount requested. I know District 5 was over. Were there other organizations that were deemed eligible that are
Yes,
that
correct.
weren't? Okay.
I'm not a member of this committee, so sorry for
that's okay.
asking. So I understand the district recommended a certain amount, but it was likely because they thought that they were going to be funding 173,000. It turns out that the eligible amount is less at 131,000. Is this committee able to change the district recommended amount to increase it at all?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, can we replace the ones that aren't eligible? Is that what your question is?
Yeah.
I get more than 100, I think is what she's asking.
Yeah.
For that one.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure I understand what you're asking, but based on the information we have today, I would be more in line with making a vote on, you know, what we're seeing on paper versus trying to move things around and make changes and that sort of thing. You know, this district recommended amount came from each of the district's elected officials making this recommendation. So go ahead.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
This is just, what is your record? Like, how do we handle the fact that they're recommending ones that you're saying aren't, or finance or your department are saying aren't eligible? Like, how do you think we should be handling this?
Well, my advice is always well-reasoned and thought out. I always think I'm right. But at the end of the day, as I've often been reminded occasionally by members of this board and certain other people, my job is to advise you. And I can only warn you of the pitfalls and the potential problems. It's up to you if you want to proceed forward with it. I certainly wouldn't be something I would recommend. You know, the direction I've always received from this board has always been that there's a desire to make sure that the actions you're taking are well supported by law. And that if there's a gray area, you want to be 3 steps away from the gray area so that you're nowhere near any grayness, and that you want to stay in the main line as defensible as can be. You know, ultimately it comes down to what your tolerance for risk is.
So to summarize what you just said, if I'm understanding you correctly, your recommendation is to approve the yellow column.
That would be my recommendation if you want to entertain, I think, I don't know that member Guston's change really materially alters.
It doesn't change the amount of money, it just changes moving.
It around. I mean, if you wanted to make that sort of change and then incorporate that into the yellow column, that in my mind would be fine. But at the end of the day, it's up to your tolerance for risk.
It's just unfortunate that we're going to be leaving money on the table.
So did you have something? Go ahead, Nick.
But, you know, you have a potential, another possibility for the districts that coincide with the staff recommendation. You could recommend approval and table the other ones to give those districts a chance to maybe reconfigure it. And that's an option too. I mean, you could give them, I mean, now you're delaying those districts moving forward, which is a downside of that.
So I spoke with Mary, I spoke with finance, I spoke with Connor. You know, doing the first year doing this, we certainly ran into some issues, and I think it was the application process itself. We needed more information. They needed more information. Finance needed more information. As you all know, I'm a big proponent of doing this again next year. And I think what we do is we make it front heavy and get more information and put more stipulations on the information that we get. So when it comes to this process that we're at right now, it's a much easier vote, and we don't have these complications. So I think we have the potential to move forward in the right direction. But as far as today is, my recommendation is going to be, and we do have a motion on the floor that we're willing to amend it, if we can amend it, but my recommendation would be we go with the eligible amount as indicated by staff, and with a $424 change that doesn't affect the money to help District 5 with their change. And then next year we move forward with making the appropriate changes so we don't have this problem.
And just for the record, Member Schwarzy, the next step in this process is going to be getting the grant agreement together, negotiated out for each of these different programs. And one of the problems, I think, the biggest issue we had, or at least I had, was that there's a lot of unclarity in what the proposals were. And there really wasn't time to sit down and reach out to all the ones that had unclear proposals and try and get more information so that it would make it work with your guys' approval schedule. I'm going to try and fix as much as I can on the back end to the grant agreements by narrowing what they can and can't use the money for. For example, there's some here that want to pay for field trips. You can't pay for field trips. I think one of these wanted to do a pizza party. The pizza party's not eligible. They can go find a different aspect that they can reassign what they thought their budget was going to be into, as long as it's lawful, as far as I'm concerned. And that process is going to take me a little while because it's, I don't know, about 30 something different grant agreements that I'm going to have to sit down with. So assume each meeting takes an hour and a few other things, but I'm trying to clean this up on the back end for you guys as best I can.
Is it possible, and it sounds like maybe not based on what you just said, Nick, but is it possible to approve the yellow column and give the blue column time to right the ship on some of the questions so that we can vote on them 2 weeks from now? On the
Ultimately, it's your program. It's your program, how you want to administer it. And I mean, you could approve the yellows and come back with others, but ultimately it's your program.
I mean, that would be my recommendation, is approve today the yellows, so we're not delaying them distribution of their funds, and then come back to the unclear ones.
Okay.
In the blue column.
We're gonna go with Member Chang, Member LaPlante.
Sorry.
Okay, we're gonna go with member Chang, I'm sorry, member Evans, sorry. Member LaPlante, and then member Garcia. So Lucy.
So I guess my question is, if we do approve the yellow column and then we table the blue, then the yellow column doesn't get is delayed from getting their money, is that?
That's what I heard too. So can we get clarity on that?
Yeah, so the question is, obviously, if you approve the blue, you're gonna be going against state attorney advice, which is never a good thing to do.
No.
Right.
The recommendations would be, you approve the yellow, and you can come back theoretically for a second bite at the ones who you aren't approving later, if that's the will of it. Obviously, it's a lot more work to kind of two-step it, or you can table the districts that do have maybe issues, like I think there's maybe 2 districts, I think, and bring those back in 2 weeks. It's either way. I mean, you could do it, or you could just flat out approve the yellow this year, and this is what we're gonna do, and next year refine the program to make it a little bit stronger and have more information in the front end. But ultimately, like I said, it is your program as a board. Our biggest recommendation is follow the yellow, not the blue, because I think that's a safer approach. And maybe the blue, they can give more information. That's up to you.
So then, sorry, just for clarification, if we approve the yellow, can we distribute those funds even if we're tabling the discussion on the blue for a later date?
If they approve the yellow, I'm gonna ask staff, you can move forward on the yellow, and ultimately you can come back and make modifications because it is your program. There's not a federal program we're under here.
So hold on. First, I'll point out the staff that is going to be reaching out on the blue stuff, or would be reaching out on the blue stuff, is the same staff that needs to go through and work on the agreements for the yellow. So there's only so much staff time that, if you want all the groceries in one bag, it's going to be as heavy as the groceries are, no matter how much you want it not to be as heavy. At the end of the day, that's my first observation is I don't know how that works from a workflow perspective. I'll probably be the biggest holdup on that because, again, I have to sit down with a lot of these yellow people and already refine their proposals more. So in order to get it put into a grant agreement. I can't speak to finance, how much bandwidth they have to go through and try and help the folks in the blue column that wouldn't get appropriated get cleaned up. That's hard for me to say. And I don't know what community services availability would be either. From a purely selfish standpoint for me, I'd really just like to focus on the columns the yellow column, and then if you guys want to revisit it at a later time, you can always think about doing it in 2 tranches later. But right now, if your goal is to get the money out the door, the fastest way is going to be for me to start focusing on getting grant agreements out for the ones that you're approving. And then it may be at a later time turning back to and considering if you want to go back to those other ones.
Okay, quickly, I just want to say too, we are not leaving any money out.
Excuse me, isn't it my turn now, Chair Schwarzy?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean,
Member Evans, finish your.
this has been very onerous on staff. So I feel like at some point, maybe today, we could just cut it off, get the money out. Whoever was in the blue column, maybe they get priority next year, because I would like to see, everybody get their money. But hearing how much it's gone around and around, even for District 3, it's been difficult, and for so much staff time devoted to this. I would like to see everybody get their money sooner in the yellow column soon, and then maybe we revisit it later. But yeah, it's been so onerous on staff.
Thank you very much. Member LaPlante, thank you for your patience.
Thank you very much, Chair Schwarzy. I echo what you were saying, which is we had to really focus on what was presented before us. I spent a very, very large amount of hours going through because District 4 had, I believe it was 19 submissions, and it was a very arduous task because we had to go through each one. I would like to thank Assistant State's Attorney Connor McCarthy because he was really a great source of information and help. And we have lawyers and the State's Attorney's Office for a reason. They are advising us for what is best for the county and to keep us from stepping, as he said, anywhere near that gray area. I don't believe we should go to that gray area. in terms of tabling things and giving other people who had problems with their grant proposals another chance, we have to be very, very careful that that is equitable to every single organization that applied for a grant this time. So you can't, I think it's problematic to change the rules at this point in the game, because I don't believe that that is going to be equitable to all of our applicants. The other thing is to give more money to certain districts where, you know, some districts came under the amount, right? Like District 4 did, sounds like District 3 did. I also think that's problematic because our task was to look at our own individual district. So I only looked at District 4. I did not go with a fine tooth comb through the other 5 districts. So for us to vote as a committee on district or county-wide, I don't believe that, I'm gonna guess, maybe prove me wrong, that someone else has gone through every single grant that was proposed here. That's also a really tough way for this committee and the members of this committee to vote, because we did not do our due diligence because that was not the assignment. I do believe that we have to greatly refine this application process for the future. It's my understanding that this was given to us as committee members because of the very reason that this was too much for staff, that the staff didn't have the capacity to take on this program. So we're kind of in a little bit of a catch-22 there. And also I want to definitely address, this money isn't going to be wasted. I know someone said that this money, we're leaving it on the table. I was told, and Chair Schwarzy, perhaps you can either correct me if I'm wrong or emphasize this, that this money can be used next year. This isn't just going away or disappearing. It can also be accessible for grant proposals next year when we have probably worked out some of these kinks, which happens with a first-time initiative, right? You learn a lot. And so we can take what we've learned from this first round and apply it to next year. But this was a very arduous process and required an awful lot of heavy lifting. And again, I do want to say thank you to our Assistant State's Attorney, Connor McCarthy, for explaining things. Mary Catherine was a great help. And I also spoke to Mary Keating. So that was very helpful. But that is I would like to reemphasize what you said, that we vote on what is been deemed, you know, positive and good, and not go and try to bring in other grants that have real issues that could get us into legal trouble. Thank you.
Thank you, Member LaPlante, and I'm 100% in agreement with everything you said. Member Garcia.
I just wanted to amend my motion. So I
Okay.
wanted to amend my motion to approve the eligible amount agencies under the small agency grant.
Okay.
We do not have a physical quorum present, so I would ask that you make a review a committee. So you can
yeah.
table the motion until after she's in.
So I need a motion to make Member you.
Mr. Chair, it's within your abilities as the chair of the committee to just appoint Member you.
Okay, I'm done.
You're on.
Thank you.
So am I understanding that you have used your power as chair to appoint Member you?
Yes,
the
I
committee
am
for purposes
using
of
that power.
fiscal
I'm gonna amend it now?
Now you can amend.
Okay.
So we don't have, so she's amending her original motion, so we don't have to vote on that original motion at this point, correct?
Not at this point, no.
Okay. All right.
So I'm gonna amend the a motion for resolution to approve the agencies under the small agency grant program to include only the eligible amount grants.
Second.
And Mr. Chair, just to be clear, does that include Member Guston's proposed changes too?
Yeah, so
I don't feel comfortable dealing with someone else's. I don't feel comfortable putting any.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second. We're having discussion on this amended motion. Discussion on the amended motion. Member you.
Okay, so hearing what everybody stated, I agree that the eligible amount obviously should be approved. However, considering what you stated about Member Guston actually wanting to increase the $100 to add additional 424, I feel like there's something there where we potentially need more information. I'm suggesting that maybe we table District 5 just because we don't have Member Guston here to explain, her thought process of it. And that way, you don't have to do 2 grant agreements, because ultimately, if we do eligible amount of $100, and And then we later decide to do another 424, then you have to do another grant agreement, I'm assuming, to add that amount. So I think that's my suggestion, is to table District 5 and just do the rest. And then the moment, we get some more information from District 5 members, Member Guston, then we can move forward to just approve the eligible amount for District 5. But
Thank you for those comments. I don't necessarily want to table anything for $424. I would pass on the limited information, and I'll ask for staff if they have any more information that maybe I don't have. And so Member Guston asked under District 5, she asked to move $424 from item 44, which is a Shelter Assistance Foundation, which you can see their recommended amount was $10,424.24. She asked to take $424 out of there and move it to item 51, which is Indian Prairie Educational Foundation, and make that an extra $424, which would be $524. She didn't say why. She did say she spoke to the school staff, and that's why she wanted to make that change. That's all she told me. And I don't know if.
can I ask another question?
Sure.
But were they aware that the amount that is eligible is not 173,000, but in fact 131? So I understand that District 5, they had a special situation where they decided to split it among the members, which is why they have the 424.24. But if there is actually more money in the pot that's eligible, would that change their assessment with regard to their recommendations? And that's why
I can't speak for them.
right. Okay, so they can't speak for them.
So with that information on the table, we have a motion, we have a second on approving the eligible amount as listed on Exhibit A. Any other questions or comments? Let's do a roll call vote, please.
Is the motion with 524?
It is not.
100?
It is
Okay.
not.
So Greg,
Yes.
Chairman Borzi, can you please just emphasize, so right now we are voting to approve only the things that are in the yellow column, is that what you're saying?
Exactly as
clear.
written in this Exhibit A.
Right,
Yes.
and approved by the state's attorney?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything in the yellow column has been approved by both finance and our state's attorney's office.
Wonderful, just wanted that clarification, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Let's do a roll call.
Okay, Member Garcia,
Aye.
Member Galassi.
Aye.
Member LaPlante,
Aye.
Member Yu, Chair Swarzy.
Aye. Okay, thank you for good discussion. It's a great program, and we will make it even better next year. So on to item 23-2930, I'll take a motion to approve a recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Lavie Industries, Inc. for a streamlined queuing and appointing scheduling system for the Department of Community Services for the period of September 5th, 2023 through September 5th, 2026, for a contract total amount not to exceed $28,423.18.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion and second, roll call, please.
Member Garcia,
Aye.
Member Galassi,
Aye.
Member LaPlante,
Aye.
Member Yu, Chair Swarzy.
Aye, thank you. Take a motion to approve item 23-2929, an amendment to the county sub-grantee contract issued to Teen Parent Connection to fiscal year 23 Community Services Block Grant for the purchase of diapers, formula, car seats, and staffing time to assist low-income county residents to increase encumbrance in the amount of $10,000, resulting in a new contract total amount not to exceed $40,000, an increase of 33.33%.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? I'll take a motion to approve item FIR 020523, acceptance of an extension of time and appropriation to the United States Treasury American Rescue Plan Act Long-Term Care Program Grant Fiscal Year 22 grant. The extend through December 31st, 2023 in the amount of $153,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Take a motion to approve item 232931, a recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Kronos Inc., a UKG company for software support services for the Kronos Automated Time and Attendance System and Knowledge Pass for the DuPage Care Center for the period September 28, 2023 through September 27, 2024, for a contract total not to exceed $25,038.45.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Member Garcia.
Aye.
Member Galassi.
Aye.
Member LaPlante.
Aye.
Member you.
Aye.
Chair Schwarze.
Aye. Thank you. I'll take a motion to approve item 232932, a travel request for senior housing and development planner to attend the HUD partnered Fall National Human Services Data Consortium Conference in Philadelphia from October 22nd, 23 through October 25th, 23. Expenses to include registration, transportation, lodging, miscellaneous expenses, and per diems for the approximate total amount of $2,203.73.
Second.
Motion second, questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I'll take a motion to approve item 232933, Tab Textile Company, Inc. This purchase order is decreasing the amount of $15,450 and closing due to purchase order as expired.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Take a motion to approve item 232934, Prescription Supply Inc. This purchase order is decreasing in the amount of $16,180.51 and closing due to purchase order has expired.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. And I'll take a motion to receive and place on file item FMP 7823, a recommendation for the approval of a contract to Commercial Mechanical Inc. to replace existing convectors in the north building, resident shower, bath, and laundry rooms, replacing existing VAV controls and replacing existing corridor linear diffusion controls at the care center for facilities management for the period of September 12, 23 through November 30th, 2025, for a total contract amount not to exceed $407,100 per lowest responsible
So
bid.
moved.
Second.
Motion and second, questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, thank you, everybody. Residency waivers, Janelle Chadwick, I believe we have some.
Janelle is out of the office today. Good morning, everyone. This is Anita Rajagopal. Hope everyone is well today.
Thank you, Anita.
We have 2 residency waivers we are requesting. Currently, we have 11 male and 23 female beds available at the center. 4 beds have already been offered to DuPage County residents. There are no DuPage County residents being displaced by these applicants. The first applicant has never lived in DuPage County, but the family members have lived in Aurora / DuPage County for about 22 years. The family member is a physician who's currently on staff at CDH and also here at the care center. The family knows that the applicant would be a great fit for 3 Center and would receive excellent top-notch care here. So this is the first applicant.
Do we have a motion?
Second.
Second, questions or comments? All in favor for approval?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Anita, go ahead.
Yes, so we have a second applicant who has lived in DuPage County in Lombard as a child. They purchased a home in Warrenville where they lived for about 30 years. But after they had different requirements, so they had to move out of the county to meet their requirements. Additional connections to DuPage County, they have family members who live in Lombard and Lisle for over 50 years now, and they have an extensive work history in DuPage. The applicant himself lived and worked in DuPage. The family has known residents at the care center and love our reputation and would like to have the applicant closer to them so they can visit frequently.
Questions?
So moved.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anita, do you have a DuPage Care Center report as well?
Yes, I do. I have a quick update for you all. Good news. We have no COVID or rhinovirus in the building right now, so I'm knocking on my desk as we speak. As a result of which, per the IDPH guidance, the masking requirements are not mandatory at this point. So that is good news for us and all our residents. We are also in our annual IDPH survey window, which started in August. So the staff is preparing for that. Last but not least, I wanted to remind you all about our virtual fall festival on September 16th. All email users have been sent links for pre-orders, so feel free to order our delicious fall treats, apple slices, cake rolls, apple butter. We also have some really exciting raffle prizes, so we would really appreciate all your support for this event. And that's all I have.
Thank you for bringing up that fall festival. That was on my list to talk about and I forgot. So thank you so much.
No problem.
Any questions for Anita? Okay. Thank you very much.
I don't have a question, but may I just say, no worries. May I just say that those food items are fantastic and they're great for feeding crowds, and it's always at homecoming season. So I order those for a lot of the homecoming parties and they're a huge hit. I highly recommend all of those yummy baked goods that they sell. It's a great idea for anyone to buy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lynn. And thank you, Anita. On to community services update, Mary Keating.
Good morning. I just have a couple of quick things. The opt-out letters for the townships opting out of the Northern Illinois Food Bank Produce program have gone out. We haven't heard anything official back. I did have a conversation with one township last week, and she indicated she thought they were going to stay in the program, but we don't have an official, sort of an official notification from them yet. The playground across the street at the family center is coming along really well. It's a big bright yellow umbrella, shade umbrella over there now. So we're looking for, hopefully all goes well this month, and we'll be doing ribbon cutting there on October 3rd. The staff are extremely excited about an opportunity for parents to spend time with their kids outside. It's something that we've wanted for a very, very long time. So we're just thrilled that it's happening. And then finally at development this morning, Paul Haas will be discussing, he and I had a meeting with CMAP, the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. It was last week. HUD has released a notice of funding opportunity for, they're calling it CDBG-Pro. They're accepting applications for regional efforts to identify ways to reduce the barriers to the construction of affordable housing. And so CMAP is looking at putting together a regional application. Wanted to know if DuPage would be interested in signing on. We, of course, said absolutely we would. And so Paul is taking something to development today just to get sort of a formal endorsement that staff can sort of proceed with conversations with CMAP. So,
questions for Mary Keating? Thank you very much, Mary. Do we have any old business? I'm going to bring up a few things. First of all, we did vote today on a couple, many good things. And I wanted to mention that the 211, we're continuing that for another year, and I think that's wonderful. And I didn't give you a heads up on this. Any idea how many, do you have a number on how many calls a month we're getting on that? Sorry.
No, not off the top of my head.
Okay.
Thank you, sorry.
It's being used though.
Oh, you betcha.
Okay, very good.
Wait, oh, you know
where's the
what? We
dashboard?
have a dashboard though. You can go on our county's community service website on the 211 page and see how many calls.
Thank you. That's great to
So-
know. Great to
And
know.
not just how many calls, but what people are asking for.
Yep.
And not surprising, information on housing is far and above the number one request.
Yes.
Just to follow up, and you may not know this answer either, I can go to the dashboard, but do you see an increase of calls as word is getting out about the 211 service?
They're it's getting slightly more and more. We do hopefully have some funding coming in soon to do a PR campaign, but we're tentative on that until we're absolutely for sure we have the funding. As you know, we don't want to spend money we don't have, right?
Okay, thank you.
So with that, we should have a TV and radio. That should get us a little bit more incoming calls, so.
Also, just a reminder that any 211 call that comes in outside of business hours is, that's an access point that people didn't have before.
Right.
So any evening, overnight or weekend call is a call that, couldn't have been made 6 months ago. So I think that 24/7 access is really important.
my apologies for not giving you a heads up on bringing that up today, so thank you. We also increased some funds to the Teen Parent Connection, which is a great program. And I want to thank everybody on this board and the members that aren't on this committee participating. And I'd really like to thank you, and they're not here anymore. Some of our finance staff is still here and Mary's still here. You know, this is a great program. It took a lot of work, but I think all us elected officials know what a wonderful program this is and the people we help. I just want to make sure especially our finance staff, you guys aren't in the human services field. The things you guys worked on to help the residents of DuPage County is exponentially just, wonderful. And so thank you for your hard work. It isn't in vain because of this program and this money that we're putting out. Your hard work is just so valuable. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Any members have would like to say anything?
I second that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any new business? All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much.